This is a clip you found of Chris Collingsworth.
Oh, yeah. I found this. I'll introduce this.
Okay.
So my YouTube algorithm is geared towards all kinds of weird, like, old TV footage and old commercials, because mostly what you and I look for on this show. And we did a Chris Collingsworth ad a few months ago. So my algorithm, I guess, put this on there. And I saw this last night, and I'm like, oh, my goodness. This aired on national television in the early 80s during halftime of a Monday Night Football game. So just play it. It's like
through those activities in just a moment.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Shout out to Honest Tech.
Yes, shout out to them for uploading this piece of hilarity.
Before all these single men and women everywhere, but how about the professional athlete that's single? Well, he makes lots of money. He's the center of attention, and there is a certain amount of mystique that surrounds his off-the-field antics. Well, recently I spoke to some of the most eligible NFL players to find out if they really are swinging singles or just how much of that is really a myth.
I think being a bachelor and playing football have a lot of similarities between them. You go out and there's not anything in the world any more competitive than going out and trying to find the girl.
Chris
Collingsworth is a wide receiver with all the right moves on and off the field. Like the crafty player he is, you never know when to take him seriously. So, Chris, why do you think those girls really like you?
I think probably because of the money, you know, and I'm not going to deny it. I walk around with $100 bills hanging out of my pockets usually and try and give it my best shot, because before I ever made any money, it was pretty much big nothingsville.
Yeah.
I like girls that aren't too bright because you can trick them a little bit.
Oh.
The punk rockers all love me. Those are my big girls, and high school girls love me. 14 to 18, I'm a big star with them. As soon as they, as soon as they mature, after about 18 years old, they start figuring out that, wait a minute, I know there's better than that out there, you know.
Christopher, we need to have a talk, young man. We need you to take a seat. Christopher, take a seat. Okay.
Okay. How old was he back then? In his 20s? So he's probably an idiot, number one.
He's probably in, I would say if I had to guess back then, like early to mid 20s, right? Because you got to play college ball and then you go into the NFL. So he's probably around 24, 25, if I had to guess.
So this is something, obviously, I would imagine at this point in his life, he would look back and be cringing at it, I hope, because that was...
If you said something like that on national television during the halftime of a football broadcast, you would be national news for like a month if you did that. And back then, it was just like,
it's like I would, I'm not defending it, but I'm saying the mindset, I think, even up until that point was like if you were a teen girl, it was still sort of like Jerry Seinfeld dated a 17-year-old, but she was a model. So I remember the thought process. People then was like, well, she's a model, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's like, no, this is a child. Like, what are you doing? Like, I think our grandparents' generation, if you were like 16, you could get married to like a 22-year-old or something. I don't know. It's very odd. It's very creepy. And
I like the fact that
this is bad.
Well, no, I don't think he's inherently creepy, because there's a thing. He admits that he's like, yeah, it's just because I got money now, and he knows that. And he walks around with the $100 bills, which is very funny. And he wears that dorky sweater, which is imagine getting laid in spite of wearing that sweater.
And those khakis.
That's God, man, what it must have been like to be a famous man in the early '80s, huh? That's unbelievable.
Everybody's dressed the same. Everybody has the same sweater on with just different colors.
Yeah. But yeah, that part at the very end about the I liked him in high school, and you're just like, oh.
Wait, let me hear what he said.
I walk around with $100 bills hanging out of my pockets usually, and try and give it my best shot, because before I ever made any money, it was pretty much big nothingsville.
Right.
I like girls that aren't too bright because you can trick them a little bit.
Yeah.
The punk rockers all love me. Those are my big girls, and high school girls love me. 14 to 18, I'm a big star with them. As soon as they, as soon as they mature, after about 18 years old, they start figuring out that, wait a minute, I know there's better than that out there, you know.
So he was saying, okay, wait a minute. I'm not defending him. But he was saying
no, we're not.
14 to 18-year-olds like him. He didn't say he liked them because he said, but at 18 they start to realize whatever. But
yeah, apparently as soon as they take one college level sociology class, they're too intelligent to date him. I guess is what he's saying.
I don't know. Colin, between the Mexican, like, what's going on, man? they haven't replaced him. They keep replacing Tony Romo, who I thought did a good job, and then
I thought he was great too. Yeah,
and then because he knew the play that was coming before they called it, and then Brady replaced that other guy who wasn't terrible either, but Chris Collingsworth still has a job.
He's got a very distinct voice. I actually had the chance to meet him one time, and he's super cool. Like I really, we're not trying to get him in trouble with this or anything. I like Chris Collinsworth. I think he's a good announcer. And he's got a great voice, man. He's got that, like, when you think of Sunday Night Football, you think of this guy's voice. He's
right. I always liked him as an announcer. Yeah.
Like he's currently 65. So if you subtract 40, he was exactly what I thought, like 23 to 25 when this was filmed. So I'm sure that 65-year-old Chris Collinsworth would see this and be like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe I said that in television. Oh my God. But it was the 80s.
Then you were close, and I don't know about the 14-year-old thing, but like if you're 18, 20,
14, that means he was legitimately with girls 10 years younger than him when he was like a year out of college. Like that's crazy.
It looks so bad. So, by the way, if you drop a match in that ballroom floor, everybody's hair catches on fire from all the hairspray. So, should point that out as well. Yeah, this didn't really age too well.
I gotta say though, the women back then, I liked that look with the poofy hair and like the shoulder pads. I think that was a good look on women. The men back then looked like total dorks, but
no, they totally they all look like calculator dorks. But
moving along what do we got next?
I'm always afraid we'll see like one of our parents in one of these old 80s. Like, Mom, Dad, what are you doing?
Yeah, one of our moms is just like on a pole, like greased up, just swinging around. Yeah, that would not be okay.
At the club.